Representative Rush, what is the impact of the defeat of right-to-work legislation in the Senate?
Well, it doesn't bode well for this session, of course. We only have a week left in the legislative session, and right to work appears to be dead in the Senate committee, Senate Public Affairs. What's unfortunate is that there were folks that had something to gain from both parts of the bill. You know, there was right to work, but there was also a minimum wage increase, and I think that also spells the demise of minimum wage increase this session as well.
But what does it mean for New Mexicans?
Well, for those workers that are being forced to contribute to a union, arguably against their will, it doesn't provide them any relief. In fact, we had some public testimony on Sunday in the Senate Public Affairs Committee where individual government workers have received letters saying, pay your fair share or it could affect your future employment. I mean, it's very strong language from the union representatives demanding payment. And those workers deserve protection from having to associate with something with which they disagree. What I have said is the freedom not to associate is as fundamental a constitutional right as the freedom to associate. And I believe those workers deserve protection. Unfortunately, the bill is killed and they're not going to get any relief this year.
New Mexicans were behind you on this, according to the polls. Will it be an important tool for you in motivating voters and campaign contributions in the months and years ahead?
I think it will continue to be an issue. I mean, any issue that it has the support of a majority of New Mexicans, according to public polling, bears further study and consideration by the legislature. And when we stick our head in the sands and say we're not going to consider something, even consider something that has the support of a great majority of New Mexicans, we do so at our own peril.
But are you going to fundraise off of it?
Well, I imagine there will be a lot of fundraising on both sides of the issue. Any issue that's as contentious as this one is going to lend itself to fundraising efforts and campaign flyers. I know voters love to get all that extra mail, but certainly that's going to be an important outcropping of this because it's a matter of public policy. And the folks sent us up here to look at public policy, to go to bat for those who don't have a voice, like these workers that are being essentially coerced into paying something out of their paycheck with which they don't agree. And we got to take it seriously. We've got to do our responsibility.
The fact that this didn't pass the Senate wasn't terribly surprising to many people, but it took up a lot of time. Do you think this debate was a distraction from other issues like education, which is your field?
No, and actually I have a number of education bills I'm working on simultaneously. I believe that right to work is certainly not a magic bullet, and I've said that in committee, and I said that again at Senate Public Affairs, but it's definitely a piece of the puzzle. So we continue to improve education to get a more educated workforce. We continue to build the kind of regulatory climate and tax climate that encourages businesses to come here and put New Mexicans back to work. Right to work also gets us on a number of lists that we are currently not on and gets companies to consider New Mexico so that when they come here, we can get our folks back to work here.
Carter Bundy, you're with the American Federation of State, County, and Municipal Employees. Was this decision a great victory for public employees unions?
Well, certainly anytime you have a vote that helps workers, we appreciate that vote and it's important, but there are 10 days left in the session and nothing is over. There are a lot of ways to get things to the floor. We think we're good on the floor. We hope we are. We think that most legislators, including Republicans who are being forced into voting for this, unfortunately, we think most legislators know that this is bad for the state of New Mexico, and we're hopeful that we can hold on, but nothing is over yet.
Well, why do you say that Republican lawmakers are being forced into voting for this?
There is a lot of pressure on Republicans to vote for this because it is a national movement to break unions, and there are some Republicans who really don't feel like they should break unions, who want to be with workers. And remember, when you really hurt unions, it's not just union members, it's all working people, because if unions do well, if you raise the wage floor for everybody, non-union workers benefit from that as much or sometimes more than union workers themselves.
So what would the impact have been if this had been passed and signed?
Well, it still may be, and so we have to be very careful. The impact is lowering wages. What you do is you essentially make it almost impossible for unions to represent the people that they're supposed to represent, and so there's no voice for workers against management to get better wages or health care or retirement benefits and to have basic workplace rights, including health and safety. So what we found in so-called right-to-work states is that death rates are almost 50% higher than in free bargaining states, which New Mexico is currently a free bargaining state. The health care is much less common in so-called right-to-work states than in free bargaining states. That wages are consistently lower, and even when you account for cost of living, because most free bargaining states have higher cost of living as well, but in free bargaining states, even after accounting for cost of living, you're talking about a $1,500 wage cap just due to right to work.
Polls showed that New Mexicans were generally not with you on this. They didn't like the idea of employees being forced to chip in a little bit, even if they didn't want to go on and join the union later. So what impact do you think this very high-profile fight has had on the perception of public employees unions?
Well, first of all, before January 15th, there weren't more than 2 or 3% of New Mexicans who could have even told you what right to work meant. It's a great name. Some of the people who do this stuff nationally for the Koch brothers and their acolytes do a terrific job of finding little catchy names. I'm for the right to work. Everybody's for the right to work. So when you ask somebody who's never heard of this issue, are you for the right to work? Of course they say yes. And even the explanations that were done, especially in the Rio Grande Foundation poll, it was so deceitful because they said this would stop people from being forced to join a union. That's already the law in the state of New Mexico. Nobody has to join a union. So what you had deceptive marketing with the term right to work, and then you even had deceptive polling questions. So those polls, frankly, on an issue that nobody really knows about, were very deceptive. We like the fact that this has been a public debate because the more people know about how fair this is, and that this is really just a contract between employers and employee organizations that Republicans, for the most part, are trying to get rid of, the more people know that it's an interference with business rights and the rights of workers to negotiate a contract, the more people are on our side.
This has been a long and tough fight. What would you say the impact has been on your treasury and your bandwidth?
Well, certainly it has been a focus, and we haven't focused on all the other issues as much as we would have liked to. For example, there are bills that would allow privatization of almost any public service in the state, and we would have liked to have done more on that. We're still paying attention to it, but obviously something like right to work and taking away free bargaining is obviously a key issue. We don't have the money that the corporate side has. The other side has been doing thousands and thousands of mailers. It's interesting, they haven't really reported any of that, by the way. But the other side has had a lot more money than we have. They've been on the radio. We haven't done that. What we've done is we've engaged our membership, and we have asked them to come up here for hearings. They've done that. The people really who care about this issue have been unequivocal that this is bad for New Mexico and they're opposed to it. So we've used a lot of time and effort, but I wouldn't say we've spent a lot of money on this.
Yes, but did you spend a lot of money on campaign contributions to union-friendly candidates in the last cycle?
Well, each union's a little bit different, but we certainly, obviously, we care about it, and we're seeing what happens when you have anti-worker legislators take over a chamber. It's been a really rough ride, and the people who work for unions and even non-union members really are affected by what happens in this building. So we do consider it important to be involved politically to represent our members and all workers.